talked a little bit before about putting the chickens in here because we don't have a chicken coop for them yet. And we've got a lot of things going on with the house and other projects. Don't know if we're gonna have a garden in this greenhouse this year. We might have a couple grow beds and plant some stuff in some downtime that we have, but it doesn't seem like we have a whole lot of downtime other than right now when I'm waiting for a plumber to come give me some ideas on the plumbing that's gonna go underneath the slab. That's kind of why I'm out here working on the greenhouse and pulling rocks out of my gloves. But what we've got going on here is chicken wire underneath the edge of the greenhouse. It's kind of stapled on the inside on the bottom 2x4, and then we dug a ditch out here on the outside, and we're running that chicken wire at a slope going outward away from the greenhouse. Two reasons for that. Number one, there's a gap underneath the edge of the greenhouse there, so the little chicks that we have can get out if they wanted. Number two, predators could get in. Skunks, raccoons, anything like that could easily dig underneath that and get in if the chicken wire is not there. So we're gonna put in the chicken wire there, and we've decided that this is gonna be a multi-purpose greenhouse. During the summer, it's gonna be a greenhouse. During the winter, it's going to be a house for the chickens. It's gonna give them more space than they would have if they didn't have this. The winter times you get 1.5 to 2 feet of snow on the ground. The only space they're gonna have to run around in is their chicken coop. So this is gonna be their space to run around in the winter time. We'll have some compost and some chicken food in here for them. Hopefully have a way to keep water from freezing in there. But I'll give you a little walk around, kind of show you what we've got, the ideas we've got for making this a multi-purpose greenhouse. So my wife and I had thought about this as a temporary thing, to put the chicks out here until we had a time to make a chicken coop and a chicken run. It would work because we can't obviously get a whole bunch of gardening done right now with everything else going on. And then we'd eventually put them out in a chicken coop area with a chicken run and all that. Thinking about long term, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have the chickens in here in the wintertime. Number one, they could go around and kind of peck at the stuff that we didn't harvest, the tomato plants, and we obviously harvest the tomatoes off them, but the tomato plants themselves would just go to waste. Stuff like that chickens can eat, and they can also go dig through the grow beds, eat worms out of them, kind of clean up the grow beds. Chicken poop is one of the best fertilizers, so as they're eating, they're pooping in the grow beds. Might be a little to clean up if it's on the edge, whatever, but it's not a bad idea. How we incorporate a chicken coop and a greenhouse and a chicken run took a little bit of thought, but we've decided that over in that corner over there, there's going to be a hole. On the other side of that wall is going to be the chicken coop. So in the wintertime, when we're not using this as a greenhouse, the hole going into the chicken coop will be open, and they'll be allowed to come in here, maybe have a little bit of a tunnel and an area blocked off so we can come in here and throw some compost out for them, throw some food out for them without having to worry about them running out the door. Not that I think they'd run out the door when it's, 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, but you never know what a chicken will do. So during the summertime, when we don't want them in here because they're using it as a greenhouse, trying to grow food, we'll just block that door off and open another door in the chicken coop to go outside. I'll take you outside and show you what we have planned out there. The chicken coop will sit right about where I'm standing here. You'll have a door, maybe through one of these slats somewhere here, a little slide door from the inside of the greenhouse to open up to let them go in the greenhouse. And then the chicken coop will either have a slide door on this side, maybe this side over here, to let them come out and free range. We'll have a fenced in area, probably about the same size as a greenhouse on the outside here. But I don't want to have to buy a whole lot of chicken food for my chickens, and I want this chicken coop to be able to house about 15 chickens. I don't like to feed them a lot of store-bought grain. Has a lot of hormones in it, makes them produce more eggs. Not that I don't like the eggs, but I don't like all the hormones that it feeds them. I'd rather have them free range eating all the bugs around the yard get rid of the bugs, and free food. But they don't produce as many eggs. So I'm thinking about 15 chickens would get me the amount of eggs where I have plenty of eggs for our family, maybe some eggs for the neighbors. Have a fenced in area here, like I said, nice and secure. That way if my dogs want to run around, they're not running through the chicken coop area. Might have a gate somewhere where we can let the chickens out into the rest of the yard if we're out here. So we're keeping an eye on them, making sure a coyote or a bobcat or something isn't prowling around trying to take one of them out. And then again, have that gate so we can shut it at night. Chicken coop so we can shut that at night. They're nice and secure. No predators are getting to them. That's kind of our thought process in expansion of just using this greenhouse as a temporary place for our chickens. It seems like a pretty good idea to me. It gives them a bigger area to run around in the wintertime. When there's 1.5 feet of snow on the ground out here, they're not going to have any place to move, get out in free range if anything. At least in there, it'll be a little bit warmer in the wintertime and it'll have a pretty big amount of space for them to run around. After a couple of years of planting in the greenhouse and getting things going, there'll be bugs in there, there'll be worms, all that stuff they can kind of kick through the dirt, kick through the grow beds and eat, along with the grain or whatever we decide to feed them in the wintertime. I'm not opposed to feeding them a little bit. I want to keep them alive. I'm not too much into butchering chickens at the end of the year. It seems like a lot of work for a little bird. Kind of our thought process on the expansion idea of using the greenhouse as a chicken coop for more than just getting these chicks grown, and the fact that we can't plant anything right now. It does seem like a pretty good idea over the years. It keeps the grow beds fertilized. It keeps the bugs out of the greenhouse. We're not letting the plants that we're harvesting the vegetables off of, we're not letting those go to waste. The chickens can go through and eat them. There's a lot of people out there that have big greenhouses like ours, whether it's stick-built or a dome type. I haven't heard or seen anybody that's using it as a dual purpose for chickens like what we're planning on doing. So there's really no way for me to know if it's gonna work or not. I can't see why it wouldn't work, but we're just kind of brainstorming here. So if you have a thought or an idea what might make it work better, leave it in the comments. Until next time, guys, go make something.